Hey there, it's Ryunari, and this is a special message to get to all of you before I go and forget about it. But as the host of the Frame by Frame podcast, I do a lot and pretty much almost all of the managing that goes around in it, whether it be from picking up the general topics that are needed for every week, or scheduling a certain date for everyone to actually be there to be involved and things like that. Which is why I had the crew applications out so that people can be there, and just in case like some others can't, and just so that there's like a base of people that can be there. And on a bit of a side note, to those of you who've been PMing me about being guests on the podcast, one thing that I didn't necessarily mention, but is pretty clear when you think about it, is that uh, my personal judging is just based upon like pretty much what your current standing in the community is on stillframe.com. Like if if you're from the stillframe community, then this applies to you. But like as to whether or not you're known in the community, it kind of like affects um, whether or not you're going to be on the podcast. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to divulge into that, or just um, I don't want to be a bit of a critical person about this subject, but you know, I that's one thing I have to get across. Um, which is another thing. I someone suggested a while ago about having a faction leaders podcast, and I really do admire the idea. And this is also a message to any of the faction leaders or anyone who's in a faction. Tell this to your leaders right now. Um, I will be setting up the podcast with all of the faction leaders. Um, it could be up like at least I need at least three more people, and any more I'll figure that out. It's just going to be it will only be me and the faction leaders, no one else, and we're just gonna just talk about our stuff, like talk about each other and all that sort of things. I'll get into the details about it later once I figure it all out. And this is where another crisis comes in. I know I've been asking a lot from, in general, the community, and like sometimes the staff or and sometimes my friends. It's gone to the point where like life has indeed taken its toll on me as well, as in comparison to a lot of other people who have been and or just have not. I'll cut to the chase. Um, it's gotten to a point where I can't be there because I have other obligations that I have to attend to that I really can't afford to miss out on, and I have to give all of my time and effort and just pay attention to these sort of things. And as you may have seen, that I am involved in every single podcast that's happened so far, and considering that I don't have a lot of time to do all this preparation, because one of the vital parts in managing this podcast is not actually doing it, but just preparing for the next one. And I don't have as much time as I used to now, and it's likely that if this keeps up, the podcast may come by like once every 2, maybe 3 weeks. It could be like a bi-monthly thing, but um, I haven't exactly asked anyone in private yet, not in a group, not like one by one person. So I'm just gonna ask if anyone wants to step up. I need a secondary host to the Frame by Frame podcast. Um, like this person can be with me when I'm on the podcast, but this is just sort of something to fall back on in case I'm not there. Um, this like the podcast is a sort of thing that like should be up there every week just to keep people up to date on what just what the hell's going on, whatever it may be. But the really fact of the matter is that I can't be there most of the time. And what I need from, like, if you if you think that you're up to it, this is essentially what I need. I need you to be attentive. I need you like just like to be like an active person. Like you're there every day, and you're like, if I were to message you, I can get a response fairly quickly, unless of course like there is notification that you are just not there. In addition, you will also need like the capacity to come up with topics right on the spot, or just going through the forums and see what's going on, because it is rather kind of difficult just to come up with just general topics to talk about, and just sort of things that can't come off as controversial. Excuse me. But um, I need that as well. Of course, I will help you. Um, Sometimes when I ask like just anyone or even in the crew, I don't get much responses. Sorry, but that's the truth. Um, in addition to attentiveness and just coming up with topics and things like that, um, I need you to be professional about it, because um, I do take this thing seriously. Like I don't I don't do this for kicks and giggles about it. Like I just do it because it is a bit of a nice luxury to have for our community to just listen to like a weekly podcast on just what's going on in the community, and just hearing the voice of people from the community to be involved in it. But yeah, I want you to take this in a professional manner, inside and outside of the podcast, and because normally what happens in the podcast, it's going to be out there on in public and uploaded on YouTube. So if you're going to say something that's going to potentially harm you and your just your reputation or whatever, it will it is going to affect you. Maybe not as quickly as you think it would, but it's going to get around, and that's a bit of a hard truth that I go by. And that's pretty much what I'm asking for really is I need another person. I need someone who's attentive. I need someone who is able to come up with topics. I will help you. And I need someone who is to be professional. All of this is one person to be a secondary host. And in addition, I will, of course, be setting up for the Faction Leaders edition of the podcast. So if you're a faction leader, or if you just give message, just PM me, and we'll all discuss about it soon. If I don't have your Skype, give it to me if you want to be a part of it. And that pretty much does it for this announcement. Um, if I don't get any or just much feedback, if you want to be a secondary host, then I'll just have to work with what I have, and but I won't promise as much to the community for the podcast. Thank you for your time.